Propagandist in Russia Vladimir Solovyov says Ukraine is just the beginning. Russia asks China for military assistance. A woman came out with anti-war poster. NATO does not want Ukraine. Drone footage of Mariupol. Video of missile hitting Kiev.
What's up, investors? This is the Russian Dude and this is your 17th day update on Russian-Ukrainian war.
These are the missile strikes that can be heard almost every single day in Kharkiv, Ukraine. NATO will hold the biggest military training in Norway for the next couple of weeks. It is reported that around 35,000 soldiers from 26 different countries will take part in this training. The degrees that have been received in Russian universities will no longer be accepted in international schools and universities. The consequences of missile strikes in Kharkiv, Ukraine. The walls of Old Town in Jerusalem were enlightened with Russian and Ukrainian flags. Japanese tire manufacturer Bridgestone will stop export of its products in Russia. Russia asks China for military assistance in its invasion of Ukraine. And after this news, the Chinese stock market started declining even faster. This is the video of Lugansk representatives putting propaganda posters inside missiles, which will be distributed among Ukrainian forces. Russia started creating the list of unwanted artists. These are basically public people who are speaking openly against the war. This is the drone footage of Mariupol, Ukraine. The equivalent to MasterCard and Visa is the Russian credit card called Mir. And recently Apple acknowledged that it might integrate credit card Mir into its Apple Pay system. In response to Western sanctions, Russia also started sanctioning individuals from abroad. This is the list of current individuals which Russia puts sanctions against. And among such people is the President of the United States Joe Biden, State Secretary Antony Blinken, and Press Secretary Jen Psaki. Feel free to pause the video if you want to see the full list of individuals. The biggest propagandist in Russia, Vladimir Solovyov, says that Ukraine is just the beginning. Above Independent Republic of Donetsk, previously recognized by Russia, a missile sent by Army of Ukraine was intercepted, though it still fell on the ground and exploded, killing people. During an evening news report on the most propagandistic channel in Russia, called Channel Number 1, a woman came out with anti-war poster. The poster basically says no war, stop the war, don't believe the propaganda, you are being lied to. Russians are against the war. The woman was immediately detained and her current location is unknown. It is reported that her lawyers cannot reach her.
And if you want to continue receiving such daily updates, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel. Also, feel free to share this video with your friends and whatever else you want. Thanks so much and let's continue.
A person in Florida was stopped because he was speeding, and in response why he was driving so fast, he said it is because of Putin. Elon Musk challenges Vladimir Putin to a fight. India and Russia might start using its own national currencies, rupee and ruble, in the trade between two countries. It is reported that Russian soldiers are taking blood from Belarus hospitals for the needs of Russian army. People are still detained in Moscow on anti-war protests. In London, UK, there is a protest against Polina Kovalyova, who is the daughter of the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Russia, Sergei Lavrov. Some kids of Russian oligarchs support Russia. They say that everyone must stand together. Russia will overcome every single challenge. With the only one problem is that they make these posts while being located in Dubai. As some of you might know, serving in military in Russia is mandatory, and avoiding this is a criminal offense. But some government representatives also try to change the law, which basically means that as soon as you reach 18 years old, you're healthy, you're not studying anywhere, you have to go to the army voluntarily. If the records show that you fulfill all the requirements, but you still do not show up in the army, it is a criminal offense. Some special forces in Belarus, the ally of Russia, refuse to go to war on Ukraine. According to Western media, these are the losses that Russian army has suffered so far. Feel free to pause this video if you want more details. Some Russian soldiers are trying to officially quit the army because they don't want to go to war on Ukraine. Former British Army Chief Colonel Richard Kemp says that the West should not rule out assassinating the President of Russia, Vladimir Putin. In addition to creating the list of unwanted artists in Russia, the government of Russia also approved the decision to prohibit several artists who left Russia from coming back to the country. This is how some malls in Moscow, Russia, look like at this very moment. The Russian Ministry of Internal Security has started blocking several VPN companies. And for those of you who do not know, VPN basically allows you to access restricted websites, such as for example Instagram, which was completely banned yesterday. This is the current list of countries where Russians can go as a direct flight, and among such countries are China, Turkey, India, Iran, Kazakhstan and Belarus. The representatives of Turkey said that they will not support sanctions against Russia. YouTube can also be banned in Russia if it does not restore access to Russian media channels. This is the percentage of revenue some companies which left Russian market are gonna lose. And these are the numbers of employees who are risking to lose their jobs because once again these companies have left the Russian market. Oil prices are already down around 25% from its prices 1 week ago, though for some reason gas is still not 25% cheaper. For example, here in Canada 1 liter of gas last week was $1.90, and the last time I saw gas prices, which were yesterday, was $1.75. Some Russians are protesting the closure of McDonald's in Russia by chaining themselves to the restaurant. Some civilians in Zaporozhye, Ukraine, who received weapons earlier this month to protect themselves from Russian occupants, are trying to sell the weapons. The devaluation of Russian currency ruble is so bad that even bread has reached its all-time high prices, and some stores start allowing people to finance their groceries. The New York Times journalist Brent Renaud was killed earlier this week in Irpin, Ukraine. This is the consequences of airstrikes in Kramatorsk, Ukraine. Just more videos from completely destroyed Kharkov, Ukraine. Allegedly, Russian Navy ships were spotted in Berdyansk, Ukraine. Another video from Kharkov, Ukraine. Some steel factories in Ukraine started producing anti-tank barricades. Vladimir Zelensky acknowledged that he understands that NATO does not want Ukraine to be a part of NATO. ASOS has stopped doing business with Russia. The Ministry of Finance of Ukraine assumes that the total damages that Ukraine might receive because of this war can be around $500 billion. Procter & Gamble is planning to increase the prices for the products going to Russia by 26 to 74%. The fourth round of talks between Russia and Ukraine has started as online conference, and both sides acknowledge that most likely all the future talks will be in the same format, because first of all it saves a lot of time and it allows to have as many negotiations as possible as quick as possible. Some missiles also hit Kiev, Ukraine. The mention of Russian billionaire Oleg Deripaska in London, UK was invaded by protesters. This is the video of a missile hitting Kiev, Ukraine. The representative of the biggest political party in Russia, Единая Россия, suggested that it should be a criminal offense for companies who follow Western sanctions. The president of Ukraine, Vladimir Zelensky, is scheduled to have an online conference this Wednesday, March 16th, with the representatives of the US government. Melitopol, Ukraine, is now almost completely occupied by the Russian army. As for now, Ukraine is in the state of martial law all the way until March 24th, and President Zelensky wants martial law to be extended for another 30 days. Another video of a missile hit in Kharkov, Ukraine. The news reporter of another propagandistic channel NTV, Lilia Gideeva, has escaped Russia. She was working in this channel for 16 years. These are just more pictures of civilian buildings in Ukraine that are being hit with missiles. Earlier this week, Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram, allowed to send death threats to Russian soldiers and Russian political leaders. But as of today, you cannot threaten to kill the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin. But it is still allowed to send death threats to Russian soldiers. This is the average diesel price in the US, which at this very moment is $5.50 per gallon. Dunkin' Donuts has stopped doing business in Russia. It is reported that President of Chechnya Ramzan Kadyrov is now in Kiev, Ukraine. The President of Serbia Aleksandar Vučić said that Serbia will remain neutral in this conflict. Also, Serbia will not join NATO. Czech Republic to send $31.5 million of military support to Ukraine. Russian Church of St. Nicholas the Wonder Worker in Oxford, UK was vandalized. Telegram, which is somewhat the equivalent of WhatsApp, has received 40 million new users in Russia after after Facebook and Instagram were banned. There are protests in Serbia which support Russian army. More and more people are getting detained on anti-war protests all across Russia. Bosch has stopped exporting its products to Russia. Australia will join the UK and US in sanctioning key Russian oligarchs. People from Donetsk, Ukraine are receiving humanitarian support from the Russian army, though some residents are unhappy about this because they receive food from the hands of the enemy. Russian Orthodox Church in Amsterdam announces its split with Moscow Patriarchate. Czech Republic has stopped issuing all kinds of visas except humanitarian ones to Russian citizens. Around a third of the US population has decided to reduce its usage of cars because of extremely high gas prices. These are just some new air routes that airline companies would have to take. In some regions of the US, the demand for Tesla has increased by as high as 100%, which is just yet another response to increasing gas prices. Even though Pfizer announced that it will stop doing investments in Russia, it will still continue selling medicine in the territory of Russia. Danone is just one of the very few companies which are not planning to leave the Russian market. Some people in the US drill holes in cars to steal gas. In this video, the Russian army provides humanitarian support to some regions near Kiev, Ukraine.
Thank you so much for your attention, stay safe and see you next time.